Heaven's Gate was a New Age religious movement that brought together aspects of Christianity, New Age and UFOlogy, or what some considered a UFO religion. Many others simply referred to it as a cult. It was first started in 1974 by Marshall Applewhite and Bonnie Nettles. Originally, the group was called Human Individual Metamorphosis, which was later called Total Overcomers Anonymous before they finally called the group by the name that most know it by, Heaven's Gate. Nettles and Applewhite met in 1972, and soon started converting followers to their strange new religion. By the time they had several hundred in 1976, they decided to stop adding new members to focus on living a monastic lifestyle, meaning that they renounced worldly pursuits to devote oneself fully to spiritual work. The main belief within the group was that followers could transform themselves into immortal extraterrestrial beings by rejecting their human nature, and they would ascend to heaven, referred to as the next level or the evolutionary level above human. Marshall Applewhite started to get into biblical prophecy in the early 1970s after being fired from the University of St. Thomas in Houston, Texas over an alleged relationship with one of his male students. It wasn't long before he met Bonnie Nettles and the pair sharing their ideas for biblical prophecy. Marshall claimed that when the two met, it was like they had known each other in another lifetime. They soon started studying passages of the New Testament and mixing up ideas of Christianity with science fiction to create their own strange brand of religion. Their first follower was a woman named Sharon Morgan, who only stuck around a short time before seeing that these two were certifiable nuts. Sharon had left family to join the new religion. She left after only a month to return home. Nettles and Applewhite were arrested and charged with credit card fraud for using Morgan's cards. The charges were later dropped, however a routine check revealed Applewhite had stolen a rental car from St. Louis 9 months earlier, which he still possessed. Applewhite spent the next 6 months in jail, primarily in Missouri, and was released in early 1975. He then rejoined Nettles. During this time, they finalized the gist of their wacky new religion and started preaching it to anyone who would listen, while gaining hundreds of followers. They often sought out people who were very naive, gullible, and who didn't have family or close friends to object to their brainwashing. Sometime around September of 1975, Applewhite and Nettles preached at a motel hall in Wallport, Oregon. Soon after, around 20 people vanished from the hotel and joined the group. It was soon national coverage as Walter Cronkite reported it on the World News. This was the group's first major exposure to the world. It wouldn't be the last. Applewhite and Nettles took the group across the country to gain new followers, often sleeping in the streets. They also told the group to start calling them by their new names, Doe and T. Who knows where they came up with this idea? These people were nuts. Anywho, Applewhite started writing more and more into his religion and tried to pass himself off as a new Jesus figure from Texas who was going to save everyone's souls by helping them shed their bodies so that they could all fly away in a UFO and reach a higher state of being. Did I mention he was batshit crazy? What was even crazier was the fact that he and Nettles were actually convincing people of this stuff. It wasn't all mentally challenged folks, or hippies as they called them back then. In fact, one such recruit early on was John Craig, a respected Republican and ranch owner who came close to winning a 1970 Colorado House of Representatives race. By 1985, Bonnie Nettles had gotten cancer and passed away after a short illness. The group was saddened, but decided to move on with Applewhite as their new leader. By the early 90s, they had built a new website called Higher Power and tried to spread their message that way. Rumors began spreading throughout the group in the following years that the upcoming comet Hale-Bopp housed the secret to their ultimate salvation and ascent into the kingdom of heaven. Throughout the 90s, media started to talk about the strange religious group, and many media personalities tried to interview them to see what they were doing and what message they had, but the group declined, saying that it would only interfere in the things they needed to do. In October of 1996, the group started renting a large 9,000 200-foot mansion in Rancho Santa Fe, California for $7,000 a month, cash. They referred to their new home as a monastery, which is exactly what it would eventually become. The group even purchased alien abduction insurance that would cover up to 50 members and would pay out $1 million per person. You literally can't make this up. In June 1995, they purchased land near Manzano, New Mexico and had begun work creating a compound out of rubber tires and concrete, but had left abruptly in April of '96. They decided for whatever reason to remain in the mansion until the conclusion of their strange plans. In late March, Marshall started filming a final message on his website talking about mass suicide and their final exit. He claimed that a UFO was following the upcoming Hale-Bopp comet and that the only way for them to board it to go to heaven was to shed their earthly bodies as it was going over, so they could all be swept up and taken to the next level, ushering the closure of Heaven's Gate. I won't mention what they took to kill themselves, but I can say that they all overdosed. It was sad that a couple's wacky ideas could lead to the deaths of so many people, but that's exactly what happened. All 39 were dressed in identical black shirts and sweatpants, brand new black and white Nike Decades athletic shoes, and armband patches reading Heaven's Gate Away Team. Here's where it gets even crazier. Each member had on them a $5 bill and 3 quarters in their pockets. According to former members, this was standard for members leaving the home for jobs and a humorous way to tell us they all had left the planet permanently. The $5 bill was for covering the cost of vagrancy laws and the quarters were for calling home from pay phones. Okay? The victims were men and women who ranged from the age of 26 to 72. 21 were women and 18 were men. The deaths took place in 3 groups. 2 of 15 at a time and 1 of 9 deaths together. The remaining members did the best they could to clean up the remaining bodies and to clean up the area. The San Diego County Sheriff's Department received an anonymous tip through the 911 system at 3:15 p.m. on March 26 reporting the mass suicide. The media went into a frenzy, all trying to outdo each other about the mass suicide. News of the 39 deaths in Rancho Santa Fe motivated the copycat suicide of a 58-year-old man living near Marysville, California. The man left a note which said, "I'm going on the spaceship with Hale-Bopp to be with those who have gone before me." The man was found dead by a friend on March 31st, and had no known connection with Heaven's Gate. A few of the members who didn't die with the 39, tried to commit suicide in the months after the event. May 6 of 1997, Wayne Cook and Chuck Humphrey attempted suicide in a hotel. The method they chose to die was almost identical to the way the group chose to go out. Cook died and Humphrey survived his attempt. Although he survived, he attempted again in February of '98 and this time died as a result. Another group member, James Perkey Jr., died by suicide by a self-inflicted gunshot wound on May 11th. What do you all think? Sacred religion or nutty cult? I'd love to hear the comments down below. Also, our social media links and links for merch are below. We'd sure love it if you check him out and give him a like or a follow, or even better, a share. We here at GraveyardDance.com want to thank each and every one of you who watches our videos and helps support us. We love y'all! Till next time!